Guys, welcome to Cisco with Aman Soni, and this is the very first video of the lecture series in which I'm going to discuss a lot of CCNA basic tasks. So this is the very first task that we have in front of us today, which is setting up the basic GNS3 with the Cisco Router iOS in that. So I have the GNS3 open right now. You can see the version that I'm using is 2.0.3. Right now it is the latest version, and if you want you might be having some old one. So fear not, the process is going to be almost the same. So how to begin in this new version, what you have to do, or it is also recommended in older versions, when you start any task, any basic practical, click on file and new blank project and just give whatever name you want, or this box you will be seeing at the beginning when you start the GNS3. So just do whatever name you want. Let's say sample number 1 and click OK. Then this task will be saved. Sample 1. Actually, I was having the same name. You can put whatever name and you can see this name will appear right here. So this, my friends, is your GNS3. If you click here and if you're opening GNS3 for the first time, you will see there will be no router here, no iOS image, nothing will be there. I in my GNS having two 7200 series images. Okay, so just imagine for the moment that you have nothing there, it is blank. So what you will do and what you need is this iOS file. I am using 7200 series. You can also download it. I'll put a link for this in the description. But the 7200 series iOS in GNS will eat up more RAM. So if you have RAM more than 4 gig, you can use it. If you don't have 4 gig, less than 4 gig, maybe 1 GB or 2 GB, then try using this one, because 3745, it is a older series iOS of Cisco. What is the difference? It will eat up less RAM as compared to your 7200. So now I'm going to show you how to set up this image file so that in here a 3745 router will appear. It's quite easy. Let me show you how to do it. Edit, preference, and click on iOS routers. And when you will be doing for the first time, you will not see anything here. So you will just scroll it down and click on new. I'm sorry, new. And just click here, run the iOS router on my local computer. You might not even see this VM option because it is a very new option, and for that I have already a VMware right here. Okay, so fear not, you will not be having this option. You just want to install this GNS Cisco router on your GNS on your local computer. That's it. Just select it and click next, and then in new image. Okay, existing image, whatever I am having right now, you will be seeing this. If not, just click on the new image, click on browse, and I would suggest you to copy the path of this file so that you can paste it here. So browse, just click here and right click the path. Okay, it can be whatever path you have. You might have on C drive, on your desktop, on your pen drive. If you want, just paste it, or you can just do the old traditional method of browsing the iOS here. So click here 3745, select, and yes, it will decompress. Now next, no need to change anything here, just leave it like this. Next. RAM, see, I told you 256 MB RAM. In this 3745, on the 7200 you will be having 500 MB RAM. So next. Now this is very important. Don't do next without leaving this, otherwise you won't be having that much ports on your router. You need a lot of ports. So click here, and this thing, the last one, you should avoid this because this is for switch only. Okay, so we don't want to convert our router as a switch, we just want a router. So you might add a lot of FE. So what is FE? FE means your fast Ethernet. So we just added a lot of fast Ethernet ports. And yeah, that's it. So what is this T? This T link, actually you might see 2T and 4T. So these are your serial interfaces. The serial interfaces are quite slow compared to your fast Ethernet. Fast Ethernet links will be having the bandwidth of 100 Mbps. On the other hand, serial 4T or 2T will be having the bandwidth of 1.544 Mbps. So you might say, why we are not selecting them? We won't be selecting them. Why? Because we will do next, and in here we will select the WIC2T. Okay. So see, if you want a lot of serial interfaces, you can select all of them. But I would not suggest that, because then you will be having a lot of interfaces. Selection of 2T here is more than enough. If you want, you can just add them, no big deal. So next, And the final step, idle PC finder. This is nothing special, nothing port related, just a safety precaution. If this value is not set, whenever you run GNS3, let me just open the task manager, your CPU will be quite high. Okay, so that's why we need the idle PC value, because we want whenever the GNS is running, the idle PC value should be very less. So for that, just give it some time. It might take 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And if you might face some error that there is no idle PC value find for your router, what you should do, you should not run your router. Just go in there on iOS router, delete the router and download some other image file, maybe 2800, maybe 2600, or maybe 7200. Okay, so don't use that, you might end up harming your CPU. So I have idle PC value found for my iOS image. iOS is Internet Network Operating System. It is the name of the like we have Windows 7 OS and Windows 10 OS. For Cisco router and switches we have iOS. Okay, Internet Network Operating System, the name of the operating system file. Okay, finish, apply, and that's it. And as you can see, we have successfully integrated a 3745 router. So just drag it here. And my friends, if you're dragging it and it is not coming like this, okay, because you might not be that lucky, you might see an S error or an E error in the red here. So if you're seeing that error, what you should do, just close your GNS, open the task manager, see if the GNS is here, and also select an end task here if you're getting some error message. Okay, so then what you will do, just go here, go on the desktop and go to run, and wait, not this, just normal run, and do firewall.cpl. and first thing, turn off your firewall. As you can see, my firewall is already turned off. So if you're getting some error while dragging your router, then turn off your firewall. And always when you're starting GNS, right click and start GNS as an administrator. These two solutions might solve your problem. So let's continue. So we have 3745 routers. So let's hop on to the task we have in front of us. Okay, task number 1 is done. We have the Cisco router 3745 in front of us. But like, how can you say we have that until unless you get the access? So how you will get the access? It's quite easy. Right click and simply start it. Yes, and it is starting. And how you will know, just give it few seconds and right click and click on console, and you will see the console of your router. Just click here and do enter. It will show you. Okay, it might take some time, it is still booting up. Okay, so this, my friends, the GNS3 will put you straight forward onto the enable mode. If you can see hash here, it is an enable mode. And how you will know that what is the privilege level of this enable mode? Just let me hop onto some basic theory points. Basic theory regarding your CLI modes of router and switch. Okay, so keep this in mind. These modes are same for router and switch, of routers and switches as well. So very first mode is this. Actually, the very first mode, if you are using a real router, will be this. It is a user mode. But the thing is, it is a very basic mode. The privilege level for this mode is actually 1. That's why GNS won't even let you show that, because privilege level are from 0 to 15. Okay, just let me write that. We have privilege levels. So what is privilege level actually? If you might familiar with the most famous Japanese cartoon Dragon Ball Z, you might know that in the Dragon Ball Z you have Saiyans and Super Saiyans, a lot of like powerful aliens. They have huge power levels. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Dragon Ball Z, let me tell you what Dragon Ball Z. It is a cartoon series in which a lot of aliens will be fighting among each other. A lot of aliens. Okay, so for these aliens, they have a lot of like power level, like 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, 20 million. So the higher the power level of the alien, the more superpower he will be having. So we have something similar here also. If the user mode is having the higher privilege level, you will be having the privilege level can do more stuff. More commands will be available to that mode. So user mode is pretty lame alien, as you can see, because the privilege level is 1. Because the privilege level range from 0 to 15. So you might say, okay, where the hell is our 0? and 0 is actually reserved, so don't worry about that. The most basic thing is your user mode. The privilege level is 1. The next one is the enable mode, and this, my friends, is very powerful alien. Why? Because the privilege level for this guy is 15. Yes, you can say it's like a super saiyan. Okay, it's not a technical term, a Dragon Ball Z term nonetheless. Okay, enable mode, the very powerful mode, because the privilege level is highest. Okay, so these are your two modes, and there is one third mode also. If you want to do some configuration, then you will be going to the config mode. And what are these symbols like what I'm drawing? Because see, these are the symbols that you will end up seeing. If you're seeing it like this, it is the user mode. If you're seeing it like this is the enable mode. And if you're seeing it like this, it is your global configuration mode. Actually, people just call it config mode for short. It's a very special place you will be going whenever you want to do some configuration. What do you mean by some configuration? Some configuration, I mean, like I want to, for example, configure an interface. What on the interface? I want to configure some IP address for say, some IP address, or I want to just turn it on, or I want to start a protocol, or I want to modify it, or I want to terminate it, and a lot of extra stuff. So this is your config mode. What about the enable mode? In enable mode, you can do basically all the show commands, show X I would say, or show question mark. You can do a lot of show commands. You want to see the IPs, you want to see the iOS version, you want to see the IP addresses, you want to see the protocols, you want to see the config. I can go on like whole day for that. Numerous show commands are there. Okay, so user mode, what you can do in user mode, actually you can do very basic show commands. Nothing much, very basic show commands you can do, and some utilities also you can do in these two modes. Like what? Some basic tools or some basic commands you have. For example, you can do telnet, you can do ping, all these things, etc. These basic tools or basic commands are also available in user mode and the enable. So the big difference, you can use all the show commands that you have, and you cannot use the show commands here by default. You just, if you go go there and do a show command, show something, just the basic. Let me give you an example. Show clock. If you give the show clock command, it will run on the user mode, it will run on the enable mode, because all the commands run in the enable mode. But in the config mode, you will get an error message. Why? Because show commands will not work here, because it is not like, this mode is not for the show commands. This mode is for configuration only. Okay, so these are the modes. So now I'm going to show you in the lab all these modes, and you are lucky actually, because on GNS you don't have to deal with this mode. It is kind of useless. You won't be even going there. You just go straight away to the enable mode and do your stuff. So like, I'll show you very few show commands, and then we will go to the config mode, and we're going to do some configuration. What configuration? We have our task, changing the host name on a Cisco router. And what is a host name? Host name is simply the name of your router. This is your host name. This router, as you can see, is your host name, and by default on Cisco router you will get router, but GNS is smart. He will give you R1, and if you drop another one, you will get R2. It's quite smart. So let's change this R1 to something else. We'll just change the name to alien1. Okay, so how's that? Let's do that. So we are in the enable mode, and as I told you, the privilege level for this mode is 15. If you don't believe me, don't worry, I'll show you the show command to see the privilege. So go to the enable mode, and if you just close it, it's not like it is gone. Just right click console, or just simply you can double click here also to get the CLI. Okay, so show, oh my bad, show privilege. This is the command, and it will simply tell you that the current privilege level that I have is 15. It is the highest privilege level. Show clock. You can see this is the clock on your Cisco router, and this is quite old. Okay, it won't be showing you the current. Okay, show what else? One very good command is I want to see what are the interfaces on my routers, how many fast Ethernet we have, how many serial interface we have, and all these things. I will do show IP interface brief. It is actually like saying show me the brief information of the interfaces that I have on my router, and you can see you have a lot of around 4, 5, 6, 6 fast Ethernet and 4 serial interfaces available to you. If you want to see, you can just do one thing, click here, because if you want to do some connectivity you will be using this connector. Left click here and left click here, and you will see all those interfaces. So if I want to connect something to my fast Ethernet 40, I'll click here and I will click on the other device. So let's do one thing, just for now, for physical purpose only, let's click on end device, meaning my PCs and all. So we can use a VPC also. Just click it, okay, and you have a virtual PC in front of you. Now you can connect with any fast Ethernet, it's up to you. It's not like you have to use 00, you can use any fast Ethernet. Click here, Ethernet 0, and you have a PC connected with your router. Now you can see red because this is not turned on. This is green because it is turned on. So right click on the VPC, start, and it is working. So both devices are connected right now and the power is on, although you don't have any configuration. No IP address here, no IP address here, so you cannot do any kind of communication. Today's task, we don't have to do communication. The second task I'm going to do in the next video to make the communication happen between these two devices. So for now, let's go to our one, and we have some device connected to our what interface, we don't know, you might even forget it. Okay, so what you have to, like, delete it, right click, delete or something, or what? I want to see my interface. It's a very, very common thing you have to have. What is my interface? Right there. So you will just click here and you will see that your interface is F20. Okay, remember this little guy. If you click again it will be gone. Click here, it will be back. Why? Because you might have a lot of connectivity to some routers, to switches, to PCs and all. Okay, so this was your enable mode. So let's go to the configuration mode, because our task for today is why we want to change the host name. We don't want R1, we want alien one here. So for that, the command is configure terminal. If you do that, you will end up in the config mode or global config mode. As you can see, it changed. See, that's for you, for your eyes, so that you can know that in which mode you are, the administrator or the network engineer or the guy who's working on that device. So now if you just leave it like this, and if the new shift engineer or your friend or someone or your senior is coming, he will know, okay, this guy is in the config mode. What is my host name? My host name is R1 and I am in the config mode. I cannot do show command. See, this was the show command that we did earlier, and immediately it will just curse at you that, oh, what the hell are you doing? You can't do any show command here. So if you want to go back, exit out and do the command again, it will work now. Show IP interface brief, and it will just work just fine. So just go to the config mode by configure terminal. This is the command, and if you want, I can give you a shortcut too. Instead of configure terminal, you can just type config space T. That is the same thing. Router will understand. So if you want to change the host name, the command for that is host name and whatever name you want. For example, we want alien 1, and immediately you have yourself alien 1. Exit out, you have alien 1. Okay, so good thing. And if you want to see the user mode, you can't do exit. Actually, if you do exit, it will again exit you out, but if you do enter, you will end up in the same mode actually. So actually this is the enable mode, and the command to go into the enable mode is enable. So what is the reverse of it? If you are already in the enable mode, you will do disable. So if you do disable, you will go to the very first mode. This is the user mode, my friends. Okay, and if you don't believe me, let me prove it to you. Show privilege level, or just show privilege. Just that's the command, show privilege. The privilege level is 1 and I'm in the user mode, and if I do enable, I will go to the enable mode. Up arrow, I can do the previous command also. See, my level is 15. Okay, so that's it for today. Let's wrap up. In the next video, we are going to do communication between these two devices. So keep tuned for more incoming tasks. Okay, Amanzoni signing out. Have a good day, guys.